Hey there, Saints. Pastor Dave here with another weekly devotional for you this Wednesday. Hope you're doing all right today. I'm going to start us off with a quick reading from Sarah Arthur's Coffee with God. This is a devotional about perspective today. Today I made a new friend. His name is Griffin, and he's 7 months old. I never used to think of people who were so much younger or older as friends, but I've begun to realize that if the only people I know are the same age as I am, then my view of the world is limited to a very small, very narrow perspective. After all, we're merely one generation out of the hundreds of thousands who have walked this planet, and it's not like we're any more intelligent or experienced. We're not even necessarily cooler. Griffin being a case in point. Today he was wearing a lime green velour pantsuit like the Grinch who stole Christmas. How cool is that? Anyway, I met Griffin because his mom was looking for someone to watch him on Friday mornings while she was in class, and I volunteered to help. It's not that I've been looking for something to do in my spare time, because I have no spare time, and it's not simply that I want to help somebody out because Jesus asks us to. I have plenty of other opportunities for that. In this case, I've begun to realize how important it is to have diverse friendships in my life. People who challenge my self-centered view of the world and help me to see God at work where I couldn't see him before. Today was my first morning with Griffin, and right away I was learning new stuff. For one thing, I learned that babies get bored just like we do. When they sit on the floor with only 3 little plush toys, while their babysitter tries to read because she's extremely busy and important, they sigh deeply and mutter in baby speak, "This stinks. Isn't there anything better to do?" Griffin did this, I swear. So I picked him up and wandered around the hallways, pausing at bulletin boards and drinking fountains and mirrors and other items that aren't all that fascinating to the rest of us, but Griffin finds startling in their newness. He's never seen a drinking fountain before. He's transfixed by the idea that when you're thirsty, you can walk down the hallway, stop by a square metal box, push a little button, and voila, water pops out of a hole. Magic. Grace. A gift from God. What other details am I missing in God's amazing world that my new friend Griffin can teach me to see? So, Saints, I had 2 immediate thoughts when I read this devotion. The first is that feels like a really good illustration of the time when Jesus told the disciples that they needed to become more like children if they wanted to enter the kingdom of God. Maybe part of what he was saying there was that children have an openness, a curiosity, a willingness to grow and to learn that over time maybe we tend to lose. Griffin here is fascinated by things that seem utterly mundane to us, but as Sarah watched Griffin watch the world around himself, she could imagine how incredible it looked through his eyes, and in a way, begin to see again how incredible it really is. What a gift everything about it is that God has given, God has shared. The other thing I saw here is how she intentionally went outside her comfort zone, outside of her regular routine to try to make a new connection, and how valuable that can be for us as the people of God. You know, we live in a world where it's really easy to get in a rut and to get surrounded by people who are substantially the same as us. You know, if we go to school, well, we're in the midst of learning or in a program with people who are all interested in the same kind of thing. If we go to work, we tend to work in a place where we're all in the same sort of educational level. If we, make friends in our neighborhoods, it tends to be the case that neighborhoods are pretty homogeneous in terms of their racial and economic makeup. If we have friends, we tend to make friends with people who have similar interests and similar backgrounds and who, come from the same class as we do. We have lots of reasons why we self-sort and self-select like this, but we end up in situations where we tend not to have friends who are unlike us in any significant way. The church can be a place where we encounter people who are not like us, can't it? The church is one of the only places in our modern world where intergenerational connection and friendships can form naturally. It's one of the only places where we tend to hang out with people who are at a different life stage than we are. And maybe it's not always the most racially integrated or economically integrated. It could certainly do better at that. But the church has the capacity, has the ability to be a place where we connect across those various natural kinds of barriers that we set up. It certainly was in the early church, in the first century. That was a place where slaves rubbed shoulders with politicians and businessmen. That was a place where people who had a Jewish background could get together with people who had a Hellenic or a Greek background. The church was meant to bring people together and to cross those kinds of divides and barriers. And if it doesn't do that as effectively as it once used to, well, we could change that, couldn't we? Saints, think about how you can reach out and create more meaningful connections with people who are not exactly like yourself, and how the church can help be part of that project. It's your devotion this week. Hope it's helpful and worth thinking about for you. Hope you're doing well and staying healthy. I will be praying for you, saints. Please keep praying for me, and I will see y'all again soon. Take care.